Hello everybody, welcome back to MB Heritage Farms. Today we're going to show you how we get everything ready and transition our garden over for wintertime. Now while the chickens are out in the pasture, we went ahead and pulled all of our drip tape up except for what's here under the collards. And if we pull that up, we're going to kill the collards, so we just connected it from the main line. It actually ran down this way, and our main line ran off of that down to the garden to feed our plants. So if you have an injector tank and you run lines up under there, all you have to do is just leave pipes like this right here under your plants and disconnect it from the main line, and they'll be perfectly fine. And then when you're ready to pull those plants up, you can just use your drip tape. It'll help you out. Now, in case some of you are wondering, or you haven't watched our previous video on our injector system, we do use 8mm drip tape, and we will continue to keep using it and reusing it. It seems pretty tough to us, and I think it's going to last a while. So now the first thing we got to do is let the chickens go to sleep, and they climb up in the tractor to do that. Once they do, we just shut the door and lock it. The next morning we come out here, we get all the mobile fence up and get our box up and load our tractor on and move it up to the garden. Also, I wanted to mention, before we do let the chickens climb up in the tractor and go to sleep, we remove all the eggs, get all the straw out of the nest and things of that nature, because we're getting ready to move it. And we don't want none of that stuff blowing out, because we do take this thing down the road. Now here's a look at our tractor inside and out. This is what we call our summer setup. We have a winter tarp that goes over there on the side, and we also have the tunnels closed up for warmth in the winter. Here's another picture of the summer run from the side. We're just going to swap the tarps out, and in the morning we're going to roll this thing up to the main. Okay, so here we are. It's morning time. We have part of our white fence down, our Premier 1 mobile fence. We're just going to roll it up, put it over to the side. We have our tarps draped around on our tractor, and we'll secure that better later once we get up to the main spot. For you wondering, I do want to let you know that the chickens don't roost or get hurt during this move. Once we start to move, they just lay down on their bellies and they have a smooth ride. Alright folks, before we leave this spot, I just want to show you real quick. This is where the chickens just left from. It looks rough right now, but I'm going to tell you next spring it's going to look awesome. So here is another little trick that we use up at the garden. This is a fence that surrounds the garden. We have a little spot here, as you can see, that roll. We leave it there, and we leave it open and unsealed so we can move this thing back in the wintertime and pull this tractor in here. So here we are at the end of the garden, and I do want to say I tried to film me pulling the tractor in the garden, but the wind's so bad today it just kept blowing the camera over in the tripod. What's going to happen with the chickens and the mobile fence is we're going to leave them on this side for several weeks, and then as we do, we're going to take the chicken tractor and move it a full length of its own all the way down every 2 days. The reason why is because here there's a false bottom, and all the poop and chicken crap goes out down on the bottom onto the ground. So within a 2 days time, that whole 8x12 is covered up. In 2 days we'll have to move it and rake all that in, or just let the chickens disperse of it and spread it out. So every 2 days we have to move this tractor down and then over, come back up, and we'll do that for several weeks, about every 2 days as we move this thing. Maybe when I move it I can show you guys. It's just a perfect concentrated square of manure, and if you leave it more than 2 days it'll start to pile up and come back up through the false bottom, because they really do go at it at nighttime for some reason. But so then after that we'll move them over on this side and we'll do the same thing. The only reason why they're not opening over here is because we still have our collards growing. As you can see in the back, we have some broccoli down there, and we're waiting for our elderberry to go dormant, which it's not done yet. So then we'll leave the chickens in here somewhere till probably March, and then we'll take the chickens and move them out, and we'll start bringing in some of those fresh wood chips that you see at the end of the garden. We call it our maintenance pile. Usually if we haven't used all that during the year, when the spring comes, we'll just go ahead and load them out and spread them all the way across the fresh compost that's on the garden, and then usually we'll cover it up and we'll wait till springtime and we'll start planting in it then. Now there's a lot of reasons why we put our chickens up here in the garden when we're not using it, and one of the main reasons that we do that is what you see here. They're depleting some of the cabbages and some of the old stuff that was hit by the frost and we couldn't use. They're going to go ahead and get rid of that. And while some of these other chickens is over there eating away at our weed seed bank, getting rid of some of the seed and the weeds, and getting rid of some of the pests and even some of the good stuff. They'll get some of our worms, but a lot of that comes back in with the compost, and we always have fresh night crawlers in here all year long. Another reason why we leave our chickens up here for so long is when you have a chip garden or back to Eden method, a lot of people have a big fear of mixing in the wood chips with the soil for that nitrogen depletion. But chickens just give us so much more nitrogen than we're ever going to need in this garden. And we never really have to worry about that. Okay, now here's a few more chicken facts for you. This is based on a group of 20 chickens together. 20 chickens can produce 675 pounds of fertilizer every year, guys. Now that may not seem like a lot, but you pack those 20 chickens in a 2,000 square foot area and you're going to get some massive fertilization. Also, a group of 20 can move 2,486 pounds of compost or soil around. Pretty much, basically what that means is you can dump your compost or soil in your garden and your chickens will be out there spreading it out for you in a level, really level field while you're sitting in the house drinking coffee. Now also, chickens are excellent diggers and tillers, and they'll work 12 hours a day with minimal breaks, maybe to take a snack break and a dust bath. You put 20 of those together, and that's 4,800 chicken work hours in a day. And our last fun fact for you this evening is 20 chickens can rid 2,000 square foot, completely rid it of pests in 2 weeks. Now that's all the fun chicken facts we're going to give you in this video, or else it'd be forever going. Now this is the last chicken fact I will give you guys, but I do want to say that if you have a garden and you also have chickens and you are not incorporating them together, you should be. Chickens in the garden can change your life. It'll also change your garden drastically for the better. Another thing that we like to do, since we're out here doing our transition period over into the winter, is we like to check our soil, move some of these wood chips and check our soil and see how good our soil has been developing, because you really don't know until you dig down there. So we have a picture of when we first started growing here. It's just pretty much Carolina red dirt with a little bit of clay texture to it. We've been building on this spot here. This coming spring will be our 3rd year of doing permaculture here. Move back a couple of wood chips, see what our soil is developing like. Looking good to me. All right, everybody, that's going to be it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video on how we transition and get everything ready for spring next year. We call this our winter transition. You always hear us guys talk about it so much more busier in the fall and the winter. That's because we're hauling in compost, we're hand shoveling that stuff off the truck, moving stuff around. It's just a lot busier for us. We really enjoy the grow season because we get a break from the work. All right, guys, again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again on the next one.